You take a look, the champ has arrived. Rhythm in stall 2, and that's, of course, he'll be breaking from the rail here at Aqueduct for the Gotham. And speaking of winter racing, to give you an insight, we've talked to the man who's been here all winter long at Aqueduct Racetrack for the daily racing form, Jack Kelly. Gives us an insight on those horses that have been running in New York this winter.
Most likely the strongest three-year-old race of the winter was probably the Bayshore, where Richard R. held off for really in a pretty exciting finish. Richard R. edging him by a nose, and then you had Cielo finishing in another length back in third in that race. Richard R. possibly wasn't the best horse that day. For really had some trouble with the 3/8 pole. He was making a run between horses that were head and head, and he got shut off. He dropped back 2 lengths and then came running again in the stretch. He actually got ahead in front, but Richard R. fought back to just edge him at the wire. The Gotham will show whether these three have the talent, but very possibly it'll be the invaders such as Rhythm, Burn Hills, and Senior Pete that'll be the main candidates in the Gotham. Rhythm, obviously, he had problems with his throat, and his 2 races in Florida throw out. Horses coming from Florida run very well over the track. Burn Hills has not been beyond 3/4 of a mile, but Bobby Frankel feels he can handle the distance with no problem. He was going to send him a mile on the 16th. In the Louisiana Derby, he got 6, so he decided to come to the New York route to the Triple Crown. And then you have Senior Pete, who's been working super for the race. He worked very well over the track the other day in between races in company, and he's been working super, and he could have a big shot.
And our thanks to Jack Kelly, and as always to the Daily Racing Form, America's turf authority, for their helps with charts and statistics. You look at Richard R. in front of the entry of D. Wayne Lucas, Kentucky Jazz as well. We'll be back with the post parade for the Gotham Stakes in New York. And think the odds should be here. Kentucky Jazz, Richard R. The Lucas entry at 4-1, as is the champion Rhythm at 4-1. But really at 12, the Prince was scratched the first-time starter. 36 red at 22-1. Continuing on with our field of 10 today, Senior Pete at 6. Burn Hills is the favorite at 2-1, the Invader from California. Paradise Found at 6-1. Low Bucker at 75. Cielo at 8-1. Let's go to the walking ring now, and Pete Axhelm.
Thank you, Chris. This man here isn't wearing a wool jacket. It's asbestos. He's on fire. Nick Zito, hottest trainer around Aqueduct. Nick, horses coming from Gulfstream for you have been sensational here.
Yeah, they're doing well, Pete. I guess they like the track up there. You know, it was heavy, and they're doing well.
Well, 36 red in this race is coming out of what many of us who wintered in Florida considered like a key race for the winter against Housebuster. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, and I'm hoping they're right. And another thing is he can't read the odds, so let's hope we're all right.
Thank you very much, Nick. I know you want to get to the horse. Back to you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Pete. You take a look at the horses in the walking ring here, and the riders are going up now as we'll be heading to the racetrack for the Gotham Stakes. 14,000 to 15,000 folks have turned out here at Aqueduct this afternoon, and they expect to probably handle statewide almost $10 million on the Gotham Stakes in the day today. You know, we talked about Rhythm as he goes to the track, the big question mark about the surgery and how it might affect him. You wonder, well, does he have any chance to be a factor in any of the classic races after a surgery like that? Well, think back on a couple in the 1980s who certainly the surgery managed to help them a bit. They obviously both had great talent, but Tank's Prospect had throat surgery, went on to win the 85 Preakness. Then, of course, another one in 87. You might remember this name, Ali Sheba. Non-winners are 2 going to the Kentucky Derby, and then the Preakness winning those went on to become racing's all-time leading money earner. Not quite the same surgery as Rhythm, but I'm sure the Phipps would take the same results. Pete?
Chris, I think the horse that outlooks this field is Senior Pete. I felt the same way when I looked at him all winter. However, Rhythm, who I gave no shot on paper, I thought could not recover this fast from his troubles. He looks so much better than he did the last time I saw him in Florida. That operation may have done the trick. Chris?
All right, and I know I was in the jocks room a little earlier and had a chance to visit with Craig Perrette, who's riding Rhythm, and he feels very confident about Rhythm as he uses the term. And remember, jockeys are not known as the greatest handicappers. Of course, neither is the Axe. As he mentioned, he says, Chris, I think he'll run a hole in the wind today. He likes Rhythm's chances. Let's introduce you now to the field for the 38th running of the Gotham Stakes. Starting with Kentucky Jazz, and there's the star of Texas from L.R. French, the owner. This front-running speed colt, placed in 4 of 5 lifetime starts, has been the favorite in 3 of 5 starts during his career. Beautifully bred Kentucky Jazz by Dixieland Band, ridden today by Chris Antley, back from some drug problems. He is now the leading rider at the Aqueduct Spring Meeting, had 24 wins through Friday. 1A, Richard R. from Sugar Maple Farm, the Team Lucas again. Should be just off the pace. Most experienced horse in the field, 12th trip to the post, and he's placed in 10 of 11 starts. You see, acting up just a bit, but in the steady, strong hands of one of the best. Lafitte Pinkai Jr., Hall of Famer, the sport's all-time leading money winner, in for the first time to ride Richard R. from California. And here is the returning champion, Rhythm, after the surgery. A lot of questions will be answered today. The juvenile champion, first start since the throat surgery to fix the displaced soft palate. 2 bullet work since. 5 furlongs in a minute, 4 furlongs in 47 and 3. Great work at Belmont. Craig Perrette, the rider, a top national rider, and of course won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with Rhythm. 4 Really, the 3-horse. Second in 2 preps for the Gotham, the Swift and the Bayshore. Only win a maiden race, but here on this track last October. The rider for Really is certainly a really great rider, nominated for the Hall of Fame this year, the great George Velasquez. Scratch the 4, we move to the 5, a Keeneland sales purchase, 36 red, $92,000. Third in the Swale, only win a February 6th maiden race at Gulfstream, but no worse than third in his last 4 starts. Rider, young Mike Smith, his first full season in New York. He was second in the winter standings here at Aqueduct to Angel Cordero. Senor Pete, the 6-horse, another 2-year-old star who hasn't really quite lived up to potential. Won the Belmont Futurity after breaking his maiden by 9 at Saratoga. Fourth in the Swale, $185,000 Keeneland sale horse. The rider, the veteran, Jacinto Vasquez, always in the top 10 all-time money. The 7 horses, Burnt Hills from California and Bobby Frankel's barn. First or second in 5 lifetime starts. Won a restricted Bolsa Chica Stakes at Santa Anita. First trip outside California. First time past 6 furlongs. Pat Valenzuela in for the ride. Of course, Sunday Sanchez riding for the Derby and Preakness a year ago. The 8 horses, Paradise Found, making a stakes debut with a 2-race win streak, runs off the pace, $130,000 Keeneland sale purchase September of '88. The rider, one of the New York veterans here. He's won titles in the past at both Aqueduct and Saratoga, Eddie Maple. The 9 horse from Leroy Jolly's barn, Low Bucker, $62,000 September Keeneland horse. This the stakes debut for Low Bucker, the son of Buckfinder, a maiden at 2 with 5 seconds in 6 starts. His last 8 starts, all have been here at Aqueduct. Just being named on this morning, Jean-Luc Semine to take the riding assignment for Low Bucker. Rounding out our field, the 10-horse galloping away is Cielo, third in the Bayshore. For the Gotham, beaten just a length and a half in that prep, 4th in the Swift. All 5 career starts here at Aqueduct. And the rider, Eclipse Award winning apprentice rider back in '81, Richard Migliori, among the top 10 riders in New York consistently. That is the field of 10 for the 38th running of the Gotham Stakes. At stake, more than $304,000 in added money. We'll be back with a look at a special Bud Long Shot. When we return, ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Let's join Pete Axel and Tom Durkin with the Bud Long Shot.
The alert viewer may notice my program is much bigger than Tom Durkin's. You may also decide that that's because I need a program for the mentally impaired handicapper. You'll probably go even further when you find out that my selection as the Bud Long Shot is a horse with a similar name to mine, Senor Pete. He's been training extremely well, and he comes out of a giant race at Gulfstream Park, the Swale Stakes, which Housebuster won. Senor Pete is my long shot, Tom.
That is why they pay this man the big bucks here on ESPN, because of that flawless logic. I agree with you 100%. The long shot winner of this race could come out of that same Swale Stakes, but it's not Senor Pete. It's 36 Red, who finished 9 lengths ahead of him that day and is trained by Red Hot Nick Zito.
Use 36 Red. He's not 36 anymore, but his hair still has traces of red. Not a bad exacta. A first ever, the Bud Exacta. Senor Pete, 36 Red.
36 Red, Senor Pete.
And the history of all our handicapping, up and down.
There it is, a split decision. Let's give you a look at all the odds. You can check out those 2 Bud Long Shot picks. Kentucky Jazz, Richard R. The Lucas entry at 4-1. Rhythm now at 7-2. But really at 12-1. The Prince was scratched. 36 Red. That is the Durkin part of the Bud Long Shot at 28-1. Senor Pete, that is the Axholm part of the long shot, 7-1. Burnt Hills is the favorite. The Bobby Frankel trained horse in from California, 9-5. Paradise Found at 6-1. Low Bucker is the biggest price at 80, and Cielo at 10-1. Pete, known for your sight handicapping abilities, what'd you notice in the paddock that caught your eye?
Well, in the paddock, as I mentioned, Rhythm looks much better than he looked in Florida. But going to the post, I thought 36 Red, he has what we call racing muscle. Trillis Parker, my guru of looking at horses, his flanks are absolutely rippling with muscle. He looks terrific. He's 27-1. Very interesting.
Is that advantage to Tom Durkin?
Advantage Durkin, I'll take it either way. We bet those Bud Exactas up and down.
Well, stakes and track record, we profile that for you in our look back. And that is, of course, the great easy goer last year here burned this track up 132-2, breaking Secretariat's mark by a full second. Talk about this track. Its lift is still as good, Pete, but all the experts up in the box keep telling me it is a wet fast.
Well, that's true, but, you know, some trainers warn me a dangerous track. Joe King is recognized as the premier superintendent of racetrack services. But this track, in the condition it is, with the weather the way it's been, horses could run down, which means they scrape their ankles, either front or back, and come back with a little blood on them. So they might win today, but perhaps the road to Kentucky is going to be a little bloody.
And I'll tell you, it is, as we mentioned, 4 weeks away to the Kentucky Derby. So, Pete, obviously, any little misstep, anything at this time that throws you off schedule really hurts.
It certainly does. At this stage, whether you're Summer Squall at the Jim Beam or the horses in here, as Bobby Frankel told us earlier in the program, there's no time to spare now. They got to do it right.
All right, we're going to go upstairs now. The man who'll be calling the Gotham Stakes, one of the premier race callers of the sport. Let's go to Tom Durkin.
Final horses moving into line now for the Gotham Mile. We spoke about horses at the top of the show that are long striding horses suited for this one-turn mile. Well, Richard R. fits that bill. The only problem is, can he get a mile? 7 furlongs might appear to be the end of his rope. But if anybody's going to get him go that extra furlong, it's the jockey, Junior, one of the top riders in the country, and particularly adept at getting extra distance out of a sprinter that might not want to go that extra furlong. They're in the gate now for the 38th running of the Gotham Mile. Standing in good order. The 2-year-old champion Rhythm breaking from the rail. And they're off, and Richard R. comes out running for the lead. Senior Pete was away in good order. Toward the inside 4 really is there, along with Kentucky Jazz. And 36 Red is up close today. The field moving out of the chute and onto the main track, and it's 36 Red in front by a head. And Kentucky Jazz is right there with them now, and he takes a short lead. And for really Velasquez is trying to throttle him off the speed. He's now rating in 3rd position. Senior Pete within striking distance is a close 4th on the outside. Craig Perrette nudging the 2-year-old champion Rhythm along in 5th position. Richard R. on the outside is 6th. Yalo is 7th in between horses. And Bert Hills, the California Invader, is down on the inside, and now he's beginning to roll. Then it's Low Bucker, the gap of 5 lengths back to Paradise Found, who's now about 12 lengths off the lead. The quarter in 22 flat, a sizzling half mile of 44 and 1/5 seconds. And a cutthroat speed duel now as they round the far turn. 36 Red in front by a head with 3/8 of a mile to run. On the inside, Kentucky Jazz is 2nd, Pirelli is 3rd. Senior Pete now is beginning to pick it up on the outside 4th. Rhythm is still 6 lengths off the lead. And Bert Hills is launching his bid now, and he's moving through an opening toward the rail. And 36 Red comes roaring off the turn. He's opened up here now by 2. Senior Pete is charging on the outside 2nd. Then farther back, Pirelli. Bert Hills is putting in a late run on the outside. They're in the final furlong, and it is 36 Red grimly holding on to the lead. Senior Pete with one last run at him, but they're running out of ground, and it's going to be 36 Red in a shocker here in the Gotham. And Mike Smith raises his whip in victory, close to the lead, or on it near the entire going of this Gotham Mile that was run in 1:33 and 4, and this buds for us.
Well, that it is, and I didn't know if I could keep Pete Axum on the platform here. That is not just a Bud long shot, Mr. Axum. That is a...
We don't just give out long shots. We give out exacta long shots. How sweet it was. I mentioned going to the post. This horse, even as you look at him now, look at his rump. Look at the rippling muscles. Nick Zito had him in the prime of condition. Like most of Zito's horses who came up from Florida, this horse really reacted well to training here.
I tell you, this is something I've never seen before at Aqueduct. The fans applauding and cheering for Pete Axholm as he gave him that 5-6 exacta.
They're throwing palm fronds in my face.
And here he comes down the stretch. 36 red in a hot pursuit. Senior Pete, it's a Bud long shot exacta in the Gotham Stakes. We'll be back to make things official. And Pete heading to the window. Has shocked this crowd here, but not Pete Axholm and Tom Durkin. That's our Bud exacta. 36 red. Unofficial winner in a fine time of 1:33 and 4 for the Gotham Stakes. Remember the track and stakes record at 1:32 and 2. He zipped through fractions of 22, 44 and 1, 108 and 2. And you see 36 red. He says, I want this winner's circle to myself. Is he just bucking and parading around and chasing most of the fans out of the win circle there? We're going to take a look at this victory by the man who picked the winner. Let's go to Tom Durkin.
As the field moved midway round the final turn, they had blazed through a half of 44 and 1/5 seconds. On the inside is Kentucky Jazz. He was right up there with 36 red, and those two dueled throughout. And then farther back, Senior Pete, who's going to put in a pretty good run himself, coming up to finish second. And the back of your screen on the inside are Burnt Hills and Rhythm, and they were never a serious threat to 36 red. This is a very impressive performance. Looks like this horse might want to go even that mile and a quarter of the Kentucky Derby, given the fact that he went 3/4 in 108 and 2, repulsed the challenge of a very quality racehorse in Kentucky Jazz. Senior Pete makes a good run at him here on the outside, and then Smith goes to the left hand, and this improving 3-year-old draws out in the final furlong to win it decisively over Senior Pete. Burnt Hills had an inside trip going into the far turn. He came outside for the stretch drive, and as I mentioned, was not a serious threat to this very sharp winner of the 38th Gotham Mile in 36 red. A son of Slew of Gold who has been improving with every start this year. And again, another shipper from Florida does well here at Aqueduct. Survive was one of them who shipped in from California, as well as the winner, Sunny Blossom.
Well, let's go down to the winner's circle, and where Pete Axholm is standing by to answer some questions. The prices just went up. I hope Pete's still going to be there after he sees that price on the exacta. Pete?
Thank you, Chris. I'm here with Greg Barrett, who rode Rhythm, and we have a isolated shot of Rhythm, I believe, as he tried to get contention here. Greg, I thought he looked better, his coat looked better, and he generally looked better than he did in Florida. But did you get the same impression when you got aboard?
Well, he's trained to this race good. We thought maybe, I kind of felt that, hey, we kind of corrected the problem we had. We got him on a new surface, and I was really looking forward to a real big race today. For what reason he didn't, I don't really know. He was in a good position down the backside.
Here we are. Was there any of the famous gurgling sound that you were quoted by saying in Gulfstream?
Well, I didn't think there was, but the wind is blowing so hard, it's very difficult to hear if the horse is gurgling. He didn't give me the indication where I could feel him grab his breath and hold it from up on top of him. I don't think that's why he didn't run. I don't know why he didn't, but he just didn't run at all. He didn't try to pick it up and get in the race. Right here, I kind of put him in the race, and I thought he should start carrying me through here. And he just didn't. I really don't know why. He's trained so well for it. I don't know if he's just that smart now and knows the easy way out or what.
Are you asking him here and realizing he's coming up empty?
I knew I was in trouble when I went to the far turn, because at that point, I felt that if he was himself, he would be getting me in that position very easily. And when he didn't, I put a little pressure on him. He didn't respond. I mean, he didn't stop running. He just didn't give me no run.
I have to ask you, in light of the first two finishes, I know you ride a horse I'm crazy about, the great sprinter Housebuster. Did the 1-2 finishes in this race come out of his race at Gulfstream? Your reaction to that?
Well, my reaction to that, right now, Housebuster sprinting, there probably isn't a 3-year-old in the country can beat him. So whoever was second and third to him come out of a good race, because we've seen a little later in the season this winter is that he beat Summer Squall, and he come back and he win the Jim Beam, and he looks like a very strong Derby horse. So all the horses that Housebuster has beaten, they've all turned around and win stakes.
A good lesson to be learned, and we learned it today. Some of us had a pretty good mutual. Back to you, Chris, and thank you, Craig.
All right, that pretty good mutual, the 5-6 exacta you see there, picked by our long shot experts, returns $438.40. Back with all the prices and the order finish in a moment. The 38th running of the Gotham Stakes is official, and look at the prices. One of the longest shots to win the Gotham. 36 red. The invader from Florida, third in the Swale Stakes, runs the mile in 1:33 and 4, and returns $67, 20.60 and 7.20. Senor Pete, second, 9.60 and 6.60. Got to make Scotty Schulhofer smile a little more after losing, he thought, one of his big Derby prospects earlier. Slavic is out of the Triple Crown picture. Burnt Hills, the favorite in the race, the shipper from California, $3.20, and there at the bottom, the big Budweiser long shot exacta, 5-6, pays $438.40. And I hope Pete got to the window.